I got a shut-up ring after 9 years of waiting. I called off the wedding, rebuilt myself, and years later, the right man proposed for the right reasons. Here's what I learned. Hi everyone. This community was a real light for me when I was in the thick of it, 3 or more years ago now, and I still engage with it now because I really feel for any person who's been in a situation of waiting on a partner. I wanted to share my story and hope it finds who it needs to find today to maybe give them encouragement. Also, I'm no longer with my ex-partner and I'm also not engaged now, so I don't have it all figured out, and I think it's important to share I'm so happy now because sometimes I roll my eyes at people who come back to post about advice only after they've gotten engaged. Here's my story. My ex-partner and I, let's call him Tim, were together for about 9 years. What I couldn't see then but I can see now was that there was a pattern of non-commitment from day one. Tim took about a year to commit to being my boyfriend. At the time I chalked it up to us being young and in college, but that pattern continued. Fast forward to post-grad and we were both employed and doing really well. Even still, he found excuses. He needs to be promoted first, then was promoted, so then a new excuse what arise. Then claim it was money, yet he bought himself a new car and motorcycle. I stood my ground a few times. We would break up and then I'd backslide and get back together. After 9 years of tug of war, we did get engaged and it was 100% a shut-up ring. I was hopeful that that was the magic trick that would make me feel whole. It wasn't. He wasn't involved in the wedding planning and everything felt wrong. A lot of other things happened in our relationship and eventually I called the wedding off. Everything was booked already. It was really terrifying. The months following I did feel like I was dying, having to lose someone I did love but ultimately knew wasn't the best for me nor me for him. Also, worrying about losing friends since our friend group was so enmeshed and losing his family who I knew so well. All of the things. Healing took a long time. Therapy, good friends, volunteering, and rediscovering who I was through hobbies, being okay to be alone. It took all those things. Also the key was no contact. Fast forward almost 2 years after breaking off the engagement, I had actually found someone new. I was not looking. It was one of those things I can only now see was a sweet invisible string waiting for me to find. My ex knew this and showed up to my house to repropose and brought all the things I had once said would be my dream proposal. It hurt for many reasons. 1, if he wanted to he would too. He's only doing this because he can't have me. 3, he doesn't care about my happiness. He knows I'm healed and moved on and is willing to jeopardize that. All that to say, I stood my ground and denied him and told him I was with someone new. There was a small fear in me to be like, wait, am I going to say no to what I always dreamed of for the potential of this new partner? But then I realized, I wasn't saying no for the potential of the new partner, I was saying yes to maintain this new version of me. This version of me was joyful and liked herself and didn't realize how much that old relationship had made me dull and insecure. So, I feel like I broke a curse. I'm no longer obsessed with getting married because I don't see it as something that will validate my worth but will be something to celebrate my love with my partner. I don't get upset seeing other engagements, I'm overjoyed for them. So, yes, now I'm with a lovely person who got the best version of me. A woman who knows her worth and claims it. I've set high standards and has met them each without me asking. He's even told me about his plans to propose, though I've never initiated that conversation and not even worrying about it. It's a complete 180. So, hopefully I'll have an engagement to share one day, but also if I don't, that's okay, and that's the point. I hope if you find yourself not being fully you, fully vibrant, that you check in on the relationship you're waiting on. They may just be keeping you from the most magical version of yourself, and maybe an amazing partner, who will be everything you want and more. Edit. Just want to say thanks to every comment. I've read them all and they're so kind and supportive. This is a great community and I really wish everyone in this sub the best. Update, 3 months later. I wrote a post about 3 months ago about how I walked away from a shut-up ring, years ago, not recently, and am now healed and with a really awesome partner. Here's the update. My fiancé, the new partner from the post, proposed to me a few weekends back. It was truly the most magical, surreal thing. He did it on a trip and did it during the beginning of the trip so we could enjoy and celebrate the whole time together. I've been reflecting on how wonderful this dating and engagement experience has been. Here's 5 things I used to believe when I was the waiting for wed version of me, compared to what I believe now, along with my commentary for each. Take it or leave it, may not apply to all and just my opinion. A proposal is synonymous with an engagement. I must conjure up signs and clues that indicate he is going to propose. Proposals can be a surprise, but the engagement shouldn't. I genuinely used to think that a guy would just propose and there was no agreement or understanding beforehand on the process. I'm sure this is the case for some. In my case, we've been informally engaged for some time and the fun part was having him surprise me with a beautiful proposal. In the prior relationship, I would be left in the dark and clue hunting and tea leaf reading. With my fiancé, we agreed that we wanted to take this next step and then he asked me how much I wanted to know about the process so we could agree on the surprises. I told him I wanted to know when he got the ring and when he asked my family for their blessing outside of that, surprised me. What I loved about this was he removed any anxiety and instead it was a fun anticipation. Getting engaged matters to me, not my boyfriend. It's not something guys care about. My partner should have just as much enthusiasm as I do about the engagement. The sentence says it all. My fiancé was openly telling people before our engagement how excited he was, and after, of course, excitedly gushing about it to our friends, family, and strangers. Early in the relationship, too, he would initiate conversations about this topic that was new to me. I used to assume every girl had to initiate these conversations and that guys just weren't excited about this sort of thing. My friends and family don't love my partner because they don't get it. Our love is deep and complicated and it's us against the world. My friends and family will be thrilled when it's the right person. Of course there's exceptions to this, but generally speaking this is true. Our friends and family have acted like their favorite team just won the Super Bowl. Everyone is so happy we're engaged. In my past people were more I'm happy if you're happy about my prior engagement. If the overall consensus, from those you love, is concern, hear them out. My partner isn't good at gift giving or planning. Those aren't his love language and that's why he hasn't said why. Regardless of my partner's love language, they are capable, caring, and value the details because they know it's important to me. Every detail of the engagement was so thoughtful, personable, and caring. From my fiancé knowing my gold-silver jewelry preference, to the location and how he asked. All aspects of the proposal showed me that he sees me, knows me, and cares for me. We never had a deadline or anything of that nature, but had a general conversation of when we'd like the proposal to happen after we agreed about the engagement. He proposed at the beginning of our agreed window. That was another refreshing detail. He didn't want me to agonize waiting for it to happen and he couldn't wait himself. He didn't wait until the last moment and whip something together or make excuses as to why he couldn't do something. He just did it. Once we get engaged, these issues, or that gnawing feeling that this isn't right, will go away. Waiting on the ring is our only issue. A ring will not magically change your relationship. In my past relationship, I sincerely believed that a ring would solve all our problems. I thought that the disagreement on marriage and timelines was a siloed issue, our only issue, and that was not the case. When I got that shut-up ring, nothing changed. The problem merely morphed into a new issue. In my current relationship, I was so happy before the ring. A big contributing factor was that we both communicated early on our desires and expectations and were aligned. I also think I entered the relationship with a posture of, I know my worth, my wants, and I'm not settling. I am not afraid to be single. In my past, I entered relationships quite the opposite and slouched with, please don't leave me, I just want you to be happy even if that means I'll silence my actual desires, to my own detriment. A big factor of this posture shift was decentralizing my fixation on getting engaged. For a long time, getting engaged seemed like an elixir that would magically make my world wonderful and give me the validation I desperately wanted. After I left my ex, as I wrote in my original post, I did a lot of work to relearn how to love my life and be content with just me. For me, this looked like going to therapy regularly, leaning into hobbies, volunteering and community engagement, and connecting with friends and family. This helped me relearn who I was and find the best, individually whole version of me. I write all this because, as I said in my original post, I have the biggest soft spot for those waiting to wed. It's an incredibly isolating, confusing, and difficult place to be. I hope this post gives someone encouragement and makes them stand up for their worth and wants. I also wanted to share an update because I received so many kind words on my original post, wanted to share how it all shook out.